Hey everyone! Before starting to bake any kind of bread, please make sure the yeast you're about to use is active. The link to my video on how to test yeast is at the end of this video and also in the description. Please watch it before you start baking these. So for the pav buns, I'm going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour or maida. I'll add 3 teaspoons of active instant dry yeast. I'm using Red Star yeast, which I buy in bulk and store in the freezer, and 3 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. Mix this all together until they're all combined well. Make a well in the center and add 1/3 cup of melted butter and mix it all together. This is slightly warm. Make sure it's not too hot before pouring it into the flour. It might kill the yeast. Make a well in the center again for water. This will need a little more than 1 cup of water for the right consistency of the dough. I'm going to slowly add little by little as I mix it all. The water temperature should be warm, not too hot, not too cold. The temperature can be anywhere between 110 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. All these details have been mentioned in my yeast testing video. Now, water can also be substituted by whole milk or buttermilk. But if you're using buttermilk, watch the amount of salt you're adding depending on how sour the buttermilk is. As we knead the dough, the consistency can go from being dry, crumbly to sticky, mushy, and finally to a soft, pillowy texture by the time we are done kneading. For pav rolls, we want a soft, smooth dough, much softer than the bread or chapati dough, which is what makes the rolls so fluffy. If the dough is too hard, the rolls can become hard and crusty, which is not what we are working for. I always say this, while kneading the dough, do not get impatient. Set a timer for 10 minutes and knead till the last second. This step is very important. Dough for pav buns is the easiest to knead as it has lots of butter, which makes the kneading process very easy. If you're making this in a food processor or an electric dough kneader, kneading it for 4 to 5 minutes or until it's smooth is good enough. As we knead, we can already see that the yeast started to make those air pockets. It's been 10 minutes since I've started kneading and this dough looks very good. I'm going to cover this and gather up the things that I need for next steps. Now roll out the dough into a long snake-like shape, and as you roll, make sure it is even throughout. Most times the center tends to be fat and the ends are thin. So make sure it's rolled out evenly so we will have equal sized rolls when we cut them. Maintaining proper size also ensures even baking and good color on all rolls. Here I'm using a 3-quart glass baking dish, which is approximately 9 inch by 13 inch. You can also bake this in a round pan. Now for this tray, we will need to split the dough into 24 equal parts. I'm going to first split this into half. We'll place one half in the mixing bowl and cover it with a napkin as I work with the other half. If you have enough space on your surface to roll, mark and cut out all the dough at once, you can do this in one go. But if you're working at it this way, try to remember how long you have rolled out the first half of the dough. It doesn't have to be measured out, but we just want to make sure we have equal size rolls at the end. Now I want 12 equal parts from this, so I'm going to divide this in the center and each half will be marked into halves again, and I'm going to mark 3 parts from each of these 4 sections. Just like that. Mark first to make sure you get even sizes. If they don't seem even, repeat this step and redo the marking carefully. Once the marking is completed, start cutting the dough at the marks we scored earlier. If any of the pieces seem bigger than the others, just pinch a bit of dough and stick it to the smaller looking piece. Now, shaping is also an important step if we want to achieve a smooth surface, otherwise we will end up with rolls with wrinkles on top. We can do this in 2 ways, either by rolling the dough between both palms until we have at least one smooth side which will face up when placed on the tray, and the second method is to fold down the dough just like this and pinch the bottom together to seal properly. For some reason, I find the second method easy when working with all-purpose flour. Anyway, as you work on rolling these, make sure all pieces of the dough rolled, cut, or the one that is resting aside is covered with a napkin to make sure they don't dry out until we are done. Once all the pieces are rolled and arranged on the pan, coat them with some melted butter, cover and let them prove or rise for about 30 minutes. If the rolls don't rise, it could mean that the water temperature was not right or the yeast is not active. Also, do not overproof these as there is a chance that they may rise and collapse while baking. Now, as these rise, preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. My oven is preheated and ready. My rolls have been rising for about 30 minutes and looking really good. At this point, these are very fragile. Do not touch or poke them or brush them with extra butter. Just bake them for 20 minutes. Alright, it's time to take the rolls out of the oven. These look really nice and very well baked, but even though they're nice and golden, they still don't have that shiny look like the store-bought Pav Bread, right? For that, we need to brush the tops with some more butter as soon as they're out of the oven. That will enhance the color and give them a nice buttery finish. See how the color's changing in an instant as we brush that butter? Now do not flip the tray yet. Let them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes before separating them from the tray successfully. The home is filled with all that fresh baked Pav Bread aromas, and right now I so wish I could somehow bring this smell to you. So let's crack open one of the rolls to see how it's baked inside. Ooh, these are hot. I can't wait to taste it. They're so delicate and soft. I'm trying not to smush it while I split it open. Look at that. It's baked perfectly with so many air pockets, and you can even see the direction in which it was rolled out or folded. So it's been a few minutes and I think we can remove them from the tray to let them cool down. If you leave them in the tray, they're going to soak up the steam which cannot escape out of the tray and the rolls become soggy. So we need to either consume this when they're hot or let them cool down on a drying rack or a flat surface. See how well they baked on the bottom as well? I find that they have an even deeper golden brown color when they are baked in a cast iron pan. Also, if you'd like to cut these and toast them to serve with a meal, wait until they are completely cool to get a clean cut, which helps with a nice even toast. And you'll also be able to see those air pockets clearly when they cool down. Do not cut any bread or cakes when they are hot. If you're not seeing those airy layers, that could mean that they are underbaked or not kneaded properly, or that there was not enough water or the yeast was not active. There could be many things that could go wrong when baking bread, but if you follow these instructions carefully, I'm sure even if it's your first time, you'll be able to bake these perfectly. I had a great time making this video and sharing all the tips. I hope this was helpful to you and that you get to try this recipe. Please let me know how yours turned out in the comments and provide any suggestions or feedback. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video.